Hey there. Welcome back to these Conversations with No One, where I share my experience living in a state of somewhat non-identification with my character and duality. In these fourth conversations, I like to share inspirations and conversations that I've been having in the comment sections of my other videos. And today I received a comment on my conversation about what I mean when I say consequences of non-duality. And it's a comment that made me really happy. So thank you, Moses, for reaching out, and I hope you'll continue to interact. The comment Moses made was, "You're not there yet, I can tell. I can tell easily. Got some other people fooled, though." So why does this comment make me so happy? Well, for one thing, I love to challenge every single assumption I have about everything. And my biggest joy in life is discovering when I'm wrong. Without external challenges to my personal experience, I'm just in an echo chamber. Anyone who has listened to a few of these conversations probably knows I'm fully open to the possibility that I'm delusional, that what I'm experiencing is merely possibly a trauma reaction and coping mechanism. But also, I believe that if this is true, well, I'd love to understand why it would matter. I really appreciate all of you who reach out to tell me these conversations have helped them. But is this help actually harm if I have somehow fooled you? And that to me is a very nuanced dynamic with a lot of gray area. There are more than a few problematic teachers and outright grifters who use things non-duality speaks about in order to manipulate and harm people for their own benefit. And yet I've seen more than a few people who've actually been helped by the words these problematic people have spoken. Conversely, I also see people harm themselves when receiving authentic love. So, if someone speaks, is it that someone who creates a change in others? Or is it the others who give meaning to these words on their personal journey? Put another way, does the truth change depending on the source of the message? I've learned along this path in so many random ways. When I was 13 years old, I learned the concept of always now, living in the moment, from a fantasy comic book about elves riding wolves, not from Eckhart Tolle. I loved the idea, and it resonated with the wisdom of not living in the past or for the future, and it helped me immensely as I navigated through life. Though I never truly experienced this until after my paradigm shift. I remember a conversation I had in my early 20s with a guy in his mid-30s who knew a lot about Eastern religion and philosophy. He was very well read. And he got wind of some of my perspectives and asked me to tell him what I believed in. And after I'd spoken for some time, he was really amused. And he went on to tell me all the official labels for each of my beliefs. Absolutely confused that I didn't know what any of them were. Because I'd adopted philosophies I was drawn to wherever I found them. in comic books, movies, pop culture, fourth-hand, whitewashed regurgitations. So, had I been fooled? Or had those words just helped me find the truth within myself? Paulo Coelho wrote many words that have stuck with me over the years, and if you've never read one of his books, I highly recommend his poetic, spiritual, and semi-autobiographical fiction. Some really amazing stories in there. But anyway, he wrote, "Don't confuse the teacher with the lesson." And I've also heard it said as, "Don't confuse the message with the messenger." And in light of that, I've tried not to play either of those roles, because I think it's too easy for people to confuse the two, and I wanted to find a way to share things without creating that dynamic. And no matter how I feel about my experience, it's entirely possible that everything I'm doing now is some convoluted, multi-layered ego story where I've learned to humble brag so effectively that I fooled myself. Or maybe my inner covert narcissist has studied and learned from grandiose narcissists how to play a deeper game. And if so, did he accidentally create a real change by faking it so completely? Or it's possible my experience is influenced by autism, ADHD, or some other variation of neuroatypical brain operating systems. So I guess my question is, could it be that all of that is true at the same time? And I guess the next question would be, does it matter? So, yeah, I'm not there yet. There is no me and nowhere to get to. If I do ever get somewhere, well, please remind me that I'm still not there. Thank you again, Moses, for the challenge and the laugh. I hope you'll take the time to tell me more about where you think I'm at and exactly how I'm fooling people. I think that would be a very enlightening conversation. And for the rest of you, thanks for listening. And I will talk to you later.